Oh,
Hello, the meeting will begin at 9:30.
okay, just checking to make sure I had a good connection.
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you much. I'll put you on mute.
Thanks.
Hi, Chris, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I'll go back on mute.
Your ID. Hello?
Good morning. We'll be starting
Good morning.
shortly.
Okay.
We're just waiting for the board members to log in. They're meeting privately at the moment. They should be on any minute.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. We're just waiting for the board members to log in. They should be here momentarily. Sorry for the delay. Oh, there's Mr. Gallagher.
Yes, we
All
just
right.
finished. We're coming over now.
Okay, I need everyone to be patient for another 10 minutes. Have an appellant show up at the last minute.
So about a 10-minute delay.
I'm not sure, but I can't hear anybody. I don't know if it's going.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
The Ward
Carmela.
15 council office is present, so I will just put myself on mute.
Thank you.
Hey, Tom, Mr. Vanover, hey, Patty? Is Patty on?
I don't see Patty this morning.
I believe Patty said she was going to be in Common Pleas Court.
Oh, is this the day she's gonna be running late?
Someone who's taking
Hello?
Patty's place.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, 1 second.
What up? Good morning.
Hello?
We haven't conducted the meeting yet, so that's why you don't hear anything. Give us 1 second.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We can hear you. We have a little delay,
Oh, okay.
about 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
This is Patty, Mr. Chairman. I didn't miss anything.
You're on, Patty. No.
Okay, I am on here. I didn't miss anything. I finished with common pleas, so thank you.
Okay, very good. Yeah, we're in a little hold here for about maybe 5 more minutes for Carmella.
Okay, because I did get, I forwarded her a voice message from late last night from one of the appellants that I got, so, and I did not have an opportunity to talk with her, but when I've noted it, when the docket is called, I'll raise it.
Okay.
Okay, happy Wednesday, everyone. Mr. Chairman, we can proceed.
Okay, so we're ready for the preamble.
Yes, sir.
In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Call-in users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded by way of the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed by way of YouTube. All requests to speak on a particular matter by way of our website and email have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Okay. All right. I think we have Ms. Ashton, you want to?
You want to do the roll call first?
We can do the roll call first. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Davis.
Mr. Bradley?
Here.
Ms. Lipscomb?
Here.
Mr. Dink?
Here.
Mr. Gallagher?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Gallagher. Patricia McGinty asking on behalf of the city of Cleveland, if we could verify live stream.
We are live streaming right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Maurice. And Mr. Chairman, as we do each time, we do object to use of the chat function as promulgated at the beginning of the pandemic. The city of Cleveland would state that if we were meeting in room 514, based upon the rules of Ohio Supreme Court procedure from beginning of the pandemic posted on their website, we would not be having any side chat during the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll call the first docket, A1822, 3140 East 65th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is fire damage. Issued December 20th of 2021. Appeal received January 6th of 2022. Requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Aston Law. With the appellant or his or her attorney or representative, please state your name for the record.
Good morning. This is Attorney Chris Niekamp. I'm representing Lead Recycling, and its principal is also on the WebEx, John Eslich. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So if who's ever going to be given testimony, please, we're going to swear you in. I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay. If you're going to be speaking, Mr. Newcamp, go ahead.
Thank you. We had submitted, my client submitted to Mr. Eslich this appeal. This violation stems from a fire that occurred in December 2021. And since the fire and the violation, the property has been boarded up. The windows, the lower level windows were all boarded up. And the property was listed for sale. And the Lead Recycling had entered into a contract with a buyer who planned to rehabilitate the property. Unfortunately, that sale, which was worked on for several months, fell through just last month. And the property is relisted for sale in order to find a buyer who will use the property in its highest and best use, and will be put on notice of the issues with the property, and who will be required to comply with the violations. If there is no sale, then Lead proposes within the next 90 days to evaluate whether to either demolish the property or reconstruct the property as a commercial industrial site. And for this reason, and my client is happy to explain further, we're requesting a 6-month extension for time to do the evaluation and to abate the violation.
Okay. Don't know if we need to hear any more. If that's what he's gonna say, that's gonna happen, we'll go over, and he may respond to what, Mr. Vanover, Chief Building Inspector, has to say. Mr. Vanover?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, yeah, we object to more time to sell the property, because there's no guarantee that the new owner will do anything more. It doesn't relieve the current owner from the responsibility of making correcting the violations. It only removes them from the ability to do so because they don't own it anymore. So if there was a plan to rehabilitate or demolish, we would entertain more time. But at this time, we object to more time because it's a plan to do nothing but transfer it to somebody else.
Well, one of the things I heard from Mr. Newcamp is that in this time period of 6 months, it sounded to me like as if it was all inclusive. He can verify that either it gets sold and redone or the problems will be abated on the property. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Go, we, our preference is to find a buyer who wants to put it at its highest and best use. And of course, they will be put on notice of the violation and the requirement to rehab it within this period. If within the next 90 days, no buyer surfaces, and really during this period simultaneously, my client will be evaluating the property to determine if it makes sense to refurbish it, to put more money into refurbishing it, or to demolish it. My client is Eslich Wrecking, affiliated with Eslich Wrecking. They have the capability to complete a demolition and obtain all the approvals. That's their business. So they are qualified to do this if they determine that's the best route.
Okay, Mr. Vanover?
So, Mr. Chairman, again, they could sell the property in 60 or 90 days, and that doesn't guarantee that the new owner does anything. But these are economic decisions. I don't know why the last deal fell apart. This was condemned. I mean, these violation notices, at least the fire damage, that was issued in December. It doesn't take 6 months to determine if you, which is where we are now, if it's worth fixing or not. Or demolishing. So I believe that these are economic decisions that are being made. I'm sure that, as these discussions are happening, that cost is an issue to whether or not they fix it or what they sell it for. So the reality is just, selling the property to somebody else for profit does not correct the violation notices, and there's no guarantee that will happen. So even based on the conversation on, what the appellate has said, that if no buyer surfaces, and if it's not economically worthy to rebuild, then they will take care of their responsibilities. But if a buyer surfaces and they manage to make a deal and sell it, there's still no guarantee with the new buyer that the violations are corrected. We would ask that you deny any more time and remand it back to the department.
Okay, on this particular one, the board members have any comments? Mr. Denk?
Is it just a good faith effort? There's no legal binding. It's not that the title's still free and clear with the permit, or I don't understand the legalities of all of that. If, as Mr. Vanover is saying, there's no obligation on the part of a buyer, then I would agree remanding back to Building and Housing seems appropriate.
Doesn't it still fall upon the owner to make sure that this gets done, Mr. Vanover?
Well, Mr. Chairman, the owner of all property, you're responsible to maintain your property. This particular owner, the current owner, has been cited and has been ordered by the director of the Department of Building and Housing to make these corrections. A transfer of the property, they would have to be given notice of the violation. But the city would have no enforcement on the new owner. We would still have enforcement on the current owner, but we would have no enforcement on the new owner until we recited and went through, the same process.
Okay. Let's see, Ms. Lipscomb?
No questions.
Okay. Okay.
As a matter of clarification, as part of our contract, we would require the buyer to agree to that they would accept this violation. And I'm not sure if that's accurate. I think the buyer would be responsible for this violation, which would run with the land.
Yeah. Oh, yes, for the responsibility, I think that there would be just maybe whatever time period there would be in between, I think that Mr. Vanover is concerned about. And so it's a matter of making sure that this property gets taken care of. And it can be done in two ways, is you still can take care of everything even if we remand it. It just, it means that you would have to show immediately that what your plans are for getting rid of the violations. And so you would have to be working on that. And if you sell it in between, well, okay, so be it. But it doesn't stop you from doing any of that. Okay, it's just that you would have to go ahead and go on with it. So with that in mind, I think that we will go ahead and remand the property and to building and housing for any further action on the property and to deny any more time. So motion is in order.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Bradley, second by Mr. Denk. Call the roll.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, thank you. You will be notified within 2 weeks of that order. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, we'll call, the next docket is A2722, 5337 Dolph Road. Okay.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance. Issued February 22nd of 2022. Appeal statement received March 9th of 2022, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. With the appellant or his or her attorney or representative, please state your name for the record.
Gloria J. Strong.
Okay, Ms. Strong, solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, very good. Go ahead and let us know what your plans are.
Well, I've been with the tenant that's in the building that has impeded me from doing what's necessary. In a legal situation for the last 15 months. And what I'm asking for is an extension because she is to vacate the property August 30th. That's what's in the legal arrangements that was made. And I do have an attorney that is working with me on this. And what I'm asking for this morning is an extension in order for me to get the work done.
You have permits? Is that what you're asking to extend?
No, I don't have any permits. I could do anything concerning this situation because she's had me tied up in the legal situation where she did not want to vacate the property. Then she's not allowing me into the building. She harasses the contractors when they come to the building.
Okay, I think I got an idea then. So you've taken action and she will be out of there by August 30th. So what I'm gonna do is,
Yes, and so,
what's that?
beg your pardon? Go
Oh,
ahead.
Okay, we'll hear from Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, our records show that this is owned by GPI Distributors Incorporated. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And that's a corporation. And what is your position with the corporation, to the appellate?
Well, I'm the president and of the corporation.
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, we're looking at, I mean, that's another 2.5 months. This is a 2-dwelling unit. Is this occupied?
No,
Are
what
both
this
of them
is,
occupied?
no, the tenant is actually holding the building hostage. It's a commercial structure, and she's really not using the building. She's just using it as a warehouse. So that's the situation there. It's not been physically occupied. It's a living. Let me explain. I'm really kind of nervous about this. It has living quarters on the second floor. It was a film home. It was only.
You're kind of breaking up, Ms. Strong.
My device that I'm on, this is the one I can use. Can you hear me now?
Still sort of breaking up. I don't know if you can call in.
So, just, Mr. Chairman, my question is this.
Well,
Our record shows this is a 2-story, 2-family unit.
No, it's not a two-family.
Is that accurate?
Sir? No.
She's saying no.
How many units is it, Mr. Chairman, to the appellate?
It's what we call living quarters. It was a former funeral home. So the first floor is with, viewing rooms. The building is in its original state. It has not been altered at all, because I purchased the building from the people who actually built the building. And there's no one occupying the building.
It's a little confusing because I don't understand who this person is that's involved here, keeping the workers from doing the work if you own the building.
No point.
Oh, it's all documented, and I do have an attorney. Maybe she can explain it better than what I can. I was at the meeting today to ask for an extension.
Okay.
To do the violations.
Well, how long would it take you to abate the violations?
Well, I've been trying to get estimates and outline all that up. And it's going to take me at least for 6 months to, to alleviate the violations.
Access because of the tenant.
Hey, Mr. Vanover.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, I'm still a little confused on the use of the building, because if I can verify the address, it's 5337 Doloff Road.
Yes.
Ms. Davis, that's the appeal we have before us?
Yes, because the tenant was using the building as office area.
So somebody is using it.
Mr. Chairman, to
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Vanover, the violation notice I have is 5337 Dolph Road. Do you want the violation number?
No, I've got it. Thank you. I'm just
Okay.
verifying and looking at the same project, the same
Where-
property. So,
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure what the exact time is. It appears I mean, is it a 6-month ask altogether? Is it 6 months after August? What is the request? I mean, this is a corporately owned property in the city that's, it's owned by a corporation, and, this is, if you look, looking at the pictures, it's not, these aren't new, damages. There's interior and exterior violations, and the exterior violations can be addressed with no disturbance to any tenant or anybody that has possession of the property. I'm not an attorney and not, experienced in tenant landlord law, but my experience has shown that you can, there's work on the outside that could be done now.
Ms. Strong?
Well, yes.
Go ahead, respond.
Well, one of the violations is that it has been done. And like I said, I'm working on all of it to try to get one contractor to do all of the work.
Okay. So I heard you state that you can abate the violations in 6 months. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we would give you some time to go ahead and pull permits or to get your contractor to pull the permits on this property. That's what's going to have to be done anyways, because it's a commercial property. So we can do that and make it so that in 6 months, all of the violations will be taken care of and abated. So we're going to give you 2 weeks, Mr. Vanover, to secure some permits. And they can, like you say, they can do the outside work from what you're saying. I believe that is true too. So to July 6th, that's 2 weeks, 2022, to obtain the permits to begin the process here of correcting the violations, and whether you have to start inside or however, outside, then that's what you're going to have to do. So 6 months total, which would be December 21st, 2022, to abate all the violations. Motion so in order.
So move.
Okay, moved by Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Dank.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb, Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, you'll be sent a notice within 2 weeks. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you.
Okay, next docket. Let's see, docket A 13721, 13622 Kane Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior exterior maintenance, issued October 19th of 2021. Appeal statement received November 15th of 2021, asking for 6 months to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. With the appellant or his or her attorney or representative, please state your name for the record.
Jennifer A. Jones.
Okay, Ms. Jones, solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and let us know what your plans are.
I started some work. I did send in some pictures. I do need a little bit more time. There's some roofing that needs to be done. And also, the finish of the outside of the house. So the porch, needs to be fixed. They started working on the garage and painting the house as well. I did put up the smoke detectors in the home. The rails coming down the stairs, those are fixed. The bathroom, I believe it was the toilet that was supposed to be mounted, that's done. So I know it's the roof, the porch, and some of the windows need to be replaced as well. Again, back when I got the notice, I couldn't get no one out there. It was the winter time for the roof, and so I do need a little bit more time with that, as far as getting that done. They did put the filter in, I believe it was the furnace, so that's been completed as well too. So I'm just asking for another maybe 3 to 4 months to try to complete everything else that's on the list.
Okay, is this a rental property?
It is, yes.
Okay, all right, let's go over to Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, has the inspector been out to see the work that you've done?
Not to my knowledge. I haven't received anything else. So I mean, I haven't received any notice, and the lady that's staying there didn't say if he came back out or anything like that.
Well, Mr. Chairman, there wouldn't be any notice. I mean, there's the last inspection was April 19th, and he's reporting no progress. It's your responsibility to reach out to the inspector to get the work inspected if you are progressing. Mr. Chairman, we don't object to more time, but we would, we need, I mean, there needs to be an inspection conducted to verify the work that's been done.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. This notice does also list smoke detectors, so I'd ask Mr. Chairman to the appellant, did you correct the smoke detectors?
She said she had, but go ahead, Ms. Jones. You can answer that.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So what you're saying is that I need to have the inspector come back out to look at the work that's been done?
That is true.
Yes, as you're progressing, the inspector will need to come out. And of course, if you're, you know, if you're putting, if you're replacing the roof or doing construction on the porch, you'll need permits for that as well, depending on the level of work that you are conducting.
Okay.
But yes, you should reach out to your inspector and have periodic inspections. And if the board grants more time so that we have a record that the work is progressing. Because right now it says nothing's happening.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Ms. Jones, if you would confirm again that you did put smoke detectors in, and they are operational. Okay.
Yes, and I started the painting on the house, but like I said, the roof and the porch, that's what I needed more time for. Because it's costing, the price to get it done, and that's what I don't have. This tenant that's in this home is not paying, and she was there when I got the property, and I've been trying to get her removed. So it's been a lot going on. So I don't really have the funds, so I'm trying to I'm doing as much as I can to get it up to date.
Okay, well, the pictures that we're seeing are looking good. You have more to do naturally, but you're saying that in 90 days, you believe that you can finish this out?
Yeah, if I can get the permits pulled for the roof and the porch, because I know that's the main thing that needs to be done. And then be able to get a contractor to get those are the two biggest things. Like I said, they started painting And then I do have to figure out about the windows. I'm really not sure if I can get all the windows in the home replaced. But definitely working on it.
Okay, so you're going to need to get permits, so we'll give you 2 weeks this way here. That will generate an inspection for sure. So we're looking at July 6th, 2022 to get the permits to do the additional work that you're referring to, and September 20th, 2022 to abate all the violations.
September 20th.
Motion's in order. Okay, Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Dink.
Mr. Chairman, can you repeat that date for me again?
What's that?
The
You want
abatement date?
Oh, you want the dates? Okay, July 6th, 2022 to get the permits, and September 20th, 2022 to abate all the violations.
Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb? Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes. Okay, you'll be notified in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next docket. A 14921 3749 West 133rd Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance issued October 19th, 2021. Appeal statement received November 15, 2021, requesting for 6 months to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Aston, Law. With the appellant or his or her attorney or representative, please state your name for the record.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. I don't see anyone by that name listed on the panel of Margaret Bin, BIHN, or Brian Bin, who's BIHN, whose name is listed on the appeal statement. In addition, the appeal statement sort of makes an objection about the inspector not giving an extension of time and complaining about not getting a warning. The city does not give warnings. We issue the notice, as this board knows. And once the violation notice is issued with a compliance date, any extensions are governed by this board. There is actually a code 3103.18 that states the department itself cannot vary once it's been issued. I just want to make that clear for the record. If anyone is here regarding an extension of time, they do seem to ask in addition for an extension of time. If you want to swear in Mr. Vanover, I'll go ahead and do my question to verify due process service.
Hey, Mr. Vanover, solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, did you receive did the board's notice of today's public hearing get returned to the file for any reason?
Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Ashton, no, I did not. I do have communication with this appellant, but just to give you everyone a little history. It was originally scheduled for May 11th of 2022. I was notified by the appellant that he had some legal issues that he could not reschedule. He was then rescheduled for May 25th, 2022. Another situation came up. I rescheduled him again for today's hearing. I did receive an email from him, Brian, this morning at 9:29 a.m. stating that he could not click into the meeting. I did respond to him to use the number provided below to call in to give his testimony.
Okay, and we do have callers 6, 7, and 8, but nobody is stating that they are Brian Bin. So it sounds like it sounds like he's having technical issues, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, and calling in, you think?
Calling in or trying to be heard and communicating. So I would state that the board has served the appellant, but there is some technical issues with the appellant attempting to get onto this hearing such that you cannot proceed without hearing from him. At least that's what I would say. We got to wait. Thank you.
Well, we could move him to the back of the docket.
I agree.
And give him a chance to get on. Okay, we'll do that.
Thank you.
Okay. So we'll call the next docket A 15021, 656 East 162nd Street.
Give me 1 second, Mr. Chairman. Let me unmute this appellant. He's present in the office.
Okay.
I'm in my meeting room.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance issued November 18th of 2021. Appeal statement received December 14th of 2021, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Aston Law. With the appellant, please state your name for the record. Mr. Palmer, speaking to the mic.
Okay.
Just state your name, sir.
Oh, my name is Robert Palmer.
Okay, that's good. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, very good. Go ahead and let us know what your plans are.
Well, the inspector was out yesterday and she showed me some stuff that she wanted me to take down and redo. And I started on the top porch rails. I tore them down yesterday, the ones that need to be tore down, what she was talking about. And I'm gonna put them up this week before the week is out. And the biggest of the other stuff is just about done. The painting, I got the ladder on the top up there already. They do the facing. I'm gonna do the front and the back. But my problem is getting somebody to do some work. So I'm looking for somebody right now to get that work done.
Okay.
Other work that she violated me for is done. The gutters and the front porch, the banisters, all that stuff is done.
Yeah, it looks good. Okay, how long do you think it's going to take, considering?
Well, 4 months would be perfect.
Okay. All right, let's go over to Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, the inspector has reported that there is some progress, but there's work that still needs to be done. So we don't object to more time. Mr. Pleaser lives here.
Okay, he said he can knock it out in 4 months. So if we give him time to go ahead and do that. So Mr. Palmer, we'll give you to October 20th, 2022 to abate any of the violations that are left.
It will be done.
Okay, sounds good. Motion so in order?
Second.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, could you give me that date again?
Sure. We're talking October 20th, 2022 to abate all the violations. And we've got a motion by Mr. Bradley, second by Mr. Dank.
Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb?
Yes.
Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, you'll be notified in 2 weeks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, give me a couple of minutes so I can,
Sure, okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis.
Why do you sit there right there? Right there in front of the microwave.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
it appears that this docket has been withdrawn.
okay.
Um,
We'll, so without objection, we'll move on to the next docket. We'll wait for Carmel.
I'm here.
Okay, so we'll call docket A1722 3285 West 32nd Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is a condemnation of the main structure. Issued January 20th of 2022. Appeal statement received February 14th of 2022, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Aston Law. With the appellant or his or her attorney or representative, please state your name for the record.
My name is Rosemarie Barak.
Okay, Ms. Barak, you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God? Okay, go ahead and let us know what your plans are.
Everyone on the panel, I am very new to this. I was called to this. I need more time to finish. I have done work on my house. I also need to finish my electrical and plumbing. I had done the clean out. It's just during hard times, I just don't have the money. I'm also struggling. On the side, my husband is diabetic, so I need to tend to him. I do want to have my home completed. I want to live in my home again. That is my childhood home.
Okay. Do you have a time in mind when you think you'll be able to complete this?
What I don't understand. I mean, how many months can you give? I need some time because I just started work. I haven't received my first paycheck yet. Also, I'm trying to put into the house. I'm trying to find people to fix my house. It's very rough during these times. I need more time. How many months would you allow?
Okay, we can discuss that, but is this, the pictures that we were shown, was that for this place, Mr. Rulon? Because they look like fire damage.
Yeah, that's what I have listed following this slide.
Okay, let's go to Mr. Vanover. We'll get
Ms.
verification.
Davis would be the one to confirm.
Okay. Ms. Davis? Would these look familiar?
Those are the pictures I received. You can see one of the pictures list the address is 3285. West 32nd Street been condemned. So
Right. Yep, it can look bad. All right, it just looks like there was a fire there, so that could be too. All right, Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, to follow my question is, when did you take possession of this house?
Ms. Barrett?
I already started fixing the roof. I do have my permits in the window. I'm just waiting to do the electrical and plumbing and the heater. My
Okay,
house has been cleaned out.
I guess the question was, when did you take possession here?
I had this house ever since my mom passed away. It was handed over to me with my brother as a quit claim deed in 2005, 2009, I think.
Okay. How did it get into this condition, I guess would be the next question. It looks like fire damage. Was there a fire?
Yes, there was a fire in November in 2021. I have fixed the roof. I'm just looking for some funds to finish my job.
Okay. Well, what caused the fire?
It was electrical, sir. It's an old house. It was built in 1890.
Okay.
There's a knob and tubing.
Okay. All right, Mr. Vanover?
Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, did you live in this home when it caught fire?
No, sir, I did not. I had a tenant that was going to live there, but they already left for that day, and I received a phone call saying that my house was on fire, and I came and I saw that nobody was there at the time. I did have tenants downstairs, but they did move out. Downstairs was water damage.
So, Mr. Chairman, okay, so this is an investment property, or was an investment property. And there are active permits on it, but there are no inspections on any of the permits, so the inspectors haven't been there. You said you rebuilt the roof. This roof that the photograph has shown that has been burned out, you rebuilt that?
Yes, I did.
And has it been inspected?
As over time, I did not call the inspector because I was dealing with the issues at home, and my husband is diabetic, and we were falling on hard times. I didn't really call the inspector yet to come to the property.
Okay, because Mr. Chairman, bear with me just a moment, because these are the status photos that the inspector provided. So I want to verify the dates that these were taken. Also, I'd like, it appears that the city boarded this property up, that it was left open, that the city actually boarded this property earlier this month. When was the last time you were there?
Me? I
Yes.
I was there today, and there's nothing is boarded up because I'm fixing the house. I have permits in my window.
I understand that you have permits in the window. I guess,
Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Vanover, from what I'm looking at, what you submitted to me, the inspector was out there on June 1st of 2022. And in those pictures, which is going to be the ones at the bottom two on the PowerPoint presentation, show that the roof has been reconstructed there. Those are what he's showing in those pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. That's why I was just checking my status to verify the dates, and the inspector, his notes from 6/1. Mr. Chairman, we don't object to more time. This house is very badly damaged. I'm concerned because it sounds like there may not be the financial wherewithal to make the repairs. That's going to delay things. Judging by the status in the photos, it looks like that the sheeting on the exterior of the wall was replaced, but the roof rafters and sheeting are burnt through. If you look at this photograph, which is second row and the second one in, there's more work that needs to be done, though. Those are going to have to be replaced. So,
Well, yeah, let's check with her and see if were those roof rafters replaced?
So the whole roof was replaced.
The whole roof?
the roofing, Mr. Chairman, but the rafters and the I would ask, we won't object to more time, but we need to have it inspected. Actually, I wouldn't object to, more time, but it needs to be inspected to see actually what has gotten done, because the inspector was able to inspect from the outside, but has not been able to gain entry to the inside.
Okay, we're going to give this.
I'm sorry. I'll be more than happy to meet over there with the inspector, but I really want my house to be finished. It's the funding that I have, and it's the money. I really want my house to be looking the way it was before.
Right, and you're planning on living in this house?
Yes, as soon as I have everything fixed, and I call the inspectors to have them inspected for the plumbing and electrical and everything. Yes.
How many months do you think you need to abate the rest of the violations, considering everything?
At least another 2 or 3 months. 3 months. Like I mentioned before, it's the funding for me, and my husband is diabetic. I have small kids too. So,
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like you are making progress. You are doing things. So you're going to get the inspector out there, call him up, get the inspector out to check the house. I think what we'll do is we're definitely, and as long as you're working on it, isn't going to be a problem. So we'll give it to September 20th, 90 days, 2022 to complete the violations. And as long as you're working on it, that's the key. You keep rolling
yes,
with
sir.
it. Okay?
Thank you so much. And honestly, God bless everybody, because we are falling on hard times, and we need to show a little bit of empathy to everybody.
Okay, no problem. Okay, motion is in order.
So move.
Okay, motion by Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Denk.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, you'll be notified in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and have a nice day, everybody. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, next docket, I have that as being withdrawn. So if there is no objection, we'll move on to the next docket. Okay, is A2222, has that been rescheduled?
Yes.
Okay, so that's been rescheduled, so we're gonna move on again to A2422, 4211 Storer Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance, issued on February 3rd of 2022. Appeal statement received February 24th of 2022, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Aston Law. With the appellate or his or her attorney or representatives, please state your name for the record.
Moody Smith, B&D Realty Property Management.
Okay. Mr. Smits, if that's correct, solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead and let us know what the plans are.
We're in the process of doing repairs to the property. Majority of the interior violations have been completed. The inspector has been out several times. The tenant that's in the property has called the inspector out several times, so she's aware of the progress that we're doing with the property itself.
Okay, how much more time are you looking for?
90 days would be good.
Okay, Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, bear with me a moment. So the inspector report, has this property been sold?
Yes, the property was sold, acquired by my client July 29th of 21. So the property was inherited with the condition that it's in.
Okay.
So it was, just so that I can verify, it was sold to your client or by your client?
To my client.
To your client. And your client, so your clients are the new owners, and I'm just looking through, it appears that there's a plumbing permit. Do you have other permits for the work taking place?
Not other permits yet, because we haven't started on the outside work that needs to be done.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. Does the board, to Ms. Davis, does the board have an agency letter in its file for this matter? It appears that the transfer was from an individual to that individual entity, if my research with the Secretary of State is correct, which is perfectly legal and allowable. People are allowed to own properties in an LLC to shield their individual selves. But regarding this matter, as a property manager, the board has to have an agency letter for this individual to appear on behalf of the entity LLC.
That would be Ms. Davis.
Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Aston, I did receive an email giving Mr. Smith authority to represent.
Thank you. That would suffice. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So that clears that up for you, Mr. Vanover?
Oh, well, yes, Mr. Chairman. So I do have a couple of further questions. We are here for the interior-exterior violation notice. There's also an outstanding no permit violation notice for interior water lines and drains and plumbing throughout the property. It appears that somebody pulled a permit for a hot water tank, but there's no permits issued for the plumbing. So there's still an outstanding no permit on this. And I'm a little confused because you said that the work was progressing, but you didn't have any permits for that either.
I checked with the contractor. The contractor is in charge of that, building permits. We did hire someone to do.
Okay, so we're gonna tell them they're gonna have to obtain those permits, whatever it is that they didn't do or need to do. So does the 90 days sound good to you, Mr. Vanover? To complete?
Mr. Chairman, we don't object to 90 days to complete, with the understanding that within the next 2 weeks the permits will be pulled.
Okay, there we go. So we'll make a motion that by July 6, 2022, all the permits that are necessary be pulled, and that all the violations must be abated by September 20th, 2022. Motion so in order.
So move.
Okay. Mr. Dank,
Second.
okay, second by Mr. Bradley. We'll just flip them one way or the other. Okay.
Howard
All
has been
right.
busy. He's been
Sounds
very
good.
busy.
Call the roll.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, you'll be notified in 2 weeks. Thank you. Okay, next docket. A 2522 2483 East 89th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is a condemnation of the main structure. Appeal statement received, condemnation of main structure issued on April 7th of 2020. Appeal statement received on March 22nd of 2022, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. With the appellant or his or her attorney or representative, please state your name for the record. Ms. Ashton?
Thank you. I couldn't click fast enough. Mr. Chairman, I do not see a Michael Grigorenko on the panel. So Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, did the notice of today's public hearing get returned to the board's file for any reason?
Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Ashton, no.
And to Ms. Davis, did you receive any communication from this appellant or on this appellant's behalf, an email, voicemail, fax, etc.?
Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Askin, I will say that there is a language barrier with this appellant. His English was very limited, but he can read English pretty good, so I had to assist him with the application process. And I do believe he did go over to 505 as instructed by me to start pulling permits to start the abatement process.
That's what he told you?
That's what I wrote out and spelled to
okay.
him because there was a language barrier.
Gotcha.
there.
So that was it. And Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, that was at the time that he filed the appeal, correct?
That was on March 22nd of 2022.
And
That
have
is
you had any
correct.
communication since then with this appellant?
No, and none of the
Okay.
certified mail or regular mail has come back.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, it appears that the board has given due process notice in the photos. Well, you'll hear from Mr. Vanover, but it appears you can proceed accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna swear you in, Mr. Vanover. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, it appears that this is a new owner. I'm trying to understand why there's a 2022 appeal to a 2020 violation notice. But it appears that this property, I can only assume it's a new owner that it transferred in December of November of last year. There are permits pulled for the rehab of this property. There are no inspections, but the permits were pulled in March.
Yeah, what you see in the pictures that it appears to be, well, they got the tie back on and it appears to be new windows put in also. So there is progress, but no inspections.
So, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, and I don't have the appeal request in front of me. Did they specify the amount of time that they were looking for?
Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Vanover, as stated previously, there is a huge language barrier with this appellant. So that portion of the conversation did not register with him about the time he needed. He just indicated that he's taking care of it right away, and he is a new owner. That was referred to me by the demo when he received his documentation that the house was on the condemnation list. So no, he could not specify an abatement date.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. I think in this instance, I would suggest the 6-month rehab. And since the permits already are obtained, and maybe Mr. Vanover can chime in on that. If you give them the 6 months, and if there's problems, you will be sending you will be sending certified mail to the appellant of this resolution that may gear him to contact Ms. Davis, and maybe explain if there was some sort of problem or attempt to explain. But we would suggest, and I would defer to Mr. Vanover, no more than the 6 months that this board would normally give. Thank you.
Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, so this was a transfer to a new owner. The property's condition was condemned when it was purchased. So it was purchased as a condemned property. That was disclosed in the certificate of disclosure that was filed, so it wasn't a surprise to the new owner. And of course, the condemnation condition influences the purchase price of the property. Now, there are permits in place that were issued 3/21 of 22, but there's been, although it looks like there's been some activity, there's been no inspections. We wouldn't object to granting time until 9/21, which is which would be the 6 months from for the rehab. And then, of course, if he continues, the Residential Code of Ohio will take over on the permits.
Okay, so we'll put the motion in order to September 20th, 2022. Does that sound correct? September 21? Okay, September 21, 2022, to abate the violations on the property. Motion is in order.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Bradley, second by Ms. Lipscomb.
Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb?
Yes.
Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes. Okay, they'll be notified in 2 weeks. So we'll call the next docket is 8422 2133 West 95th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is hazardous conditions and no permit. Issued on April 20th of 2022. Appeal statement received May 18th of 2022. Denying the claims to the notices of violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Aston, Law. With the appellant or his or her attorney or representatives, please state your name for the record.
Chandra for Demotrax LLC.
And George Catantaris for Demotrax LLC.
And Mr. Chairman, I believe Chief Bartley may be on for this. I don't know if he plans to give testimony or not, but I believe he is here for that for the city.
Okay, who is on for the city? Ms. Aston?
We have Mr. Vanover is for everybody, and then I would see if Chief Bill Bartley is also he's observing, or if he is going to give testimony, he'll need to chime in, state his name, and then be sworn in as well.
Yeah, we also have a representative from Ward 15. You are muted at the moment. Heather Lazar, does that sound right?
Thank you.
Okay, so
yes.
Let's see. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna swear everybody in who's gonna give testimony. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, 1 second.
Yes.
For this record to be clear for my court reporter, I need everyone who's going to give testimony to please state your name.
Okay, we'll start off what you began with, Mr. Chandra. Just state your name.
Ashwin Chandra. I'm the attorney for Demotrex.
Okay. And Mr. Canteras.
George Cafanteris.
Okay.
And for the city, Patricia McGinty Aston as the attorney for the city, and then I'll defer to my building department of people.
This is Bill Bartley, a building inspector, City Cleveland.
Okay. And
Mr. Vanover. Tom, you can chime in.
Mr. Vanover and Ms. Lazar. Ms. Lazar, you're going to give testimony. Okay.
Good morning, Heather Lazar, Ward 15,
Okay.
Council Office, Native Advocate.
And preliminarily, Mr. Chairman, this is an objection to the notice, so the city does have the first administrative burden to present and prove the notice was issued correctly. However, I have had extensive conversations with Mr. Chandra regarding this matter. I would ask Mr. Chandra, are you proceeding with the objections at this time?
We do not object to the notice.
Okay, so that was my expectation, Mr. Chairman, in my engagement with the attorney. I believe there was going to be a request to amend the appeal statement to withdraw the objections and to seek time for that. Is that correct, Mr. Chandra?
Yes.
Okay, so then I would defer back to this board, Mr. Chairman, to hear from the appellant since they're not proceeding on any objections.
Okay, Mr. Chandra, go ahead and let us know what the plans are.
Thank you, Ron. Mr. Chairman, Demotrex pulled a permit to demolish a building, and unfortunately, they demolished the wrong building. And this building was condemned, and it was boarded up, and it was there was fire damage. Unfortunately, our crew made a mistake there. Having said that, we were not able to locate the owner. And my understanding was that one of the owners was deceased. He had been murdered and he had been killed in that property, so we were not able to locate him. But fortunately, through the city gave us the contact information for the other title owner, Mr. Thomas Johnson, who has entered into a contract with us. We got the contact information only on Thursday. And we proceeded rapidly to enter into a contract with him, and we are in the process of pulling permits. And once we get the demolition permit, it should take us not more than 1 week to remove all the debris. We would like the board to know that if we had been able to make contact with Mr. Johnson earlier, we would have addressed it immediately. It is not our intention to have any debris out there. We understand that this is an eyesore and this is a hazardous condition. So we will take care of it as soon as we get the permits, Your Honor.
Okay, who wants to speak on behalf of the city?
This is Patty. I will defer to Mr. Vanover and Mr. Bartley on what they would like to present.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, that's a pretty accurate depiction of what has happened. My question, Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, when was the contract entered into with the owner?
It was entered into on Monday, which was a holiday. We started the contract process on Sunday, and we in fact got the signed contract yesterday, which would be Tuesday morning. We got it from the property owner, Mr. Johnson, and right away we went to the city. And I understand Mr. Cafanderis can fill in, but we are in the process of pulling the permits now. I mean,
So, Mr. Chairman, there's 3 permits that are required, and, you know, there will be a bulkhead permit from Water Pollution Control, there will be a hydrant permit required from the Division of Water, and then, of course, the building permit from the City of Cleveland. And I guess, Mr. Chairman of the Appellate, can you explain what it means to be in the process of pulling the permits? Demotrax pulls, you know, I mean, several, I don't know what their number is, but, you know, the demo permit process is pretty quick and can have been satisfied yesterday or even as early as today. It's just a matter of getting a hydrant permit, getting a bulkhead permit, and then coming to City Hall and get those permits or demo permits are issued practically as walkthroughs. So it's, my expectation is that you would be able to pull those permits today and then have the nuisance abated by next Wednesday based on your testimony?
I will let Mr. Cafandaris fill in those details. Mr. Cafandaris, can you explain to the board or respond to that question?
Yes, it doesn't exactly take one day. So the first step we do is we send an email to all the utility companies to make sure that everything is terminated. So we already contacted all companies via email. So that's in process. And the second step is we have to get an approval from air pollution, which I just received this morning. So when the utilities are terminated, then we can get a bulkhead. Then with the bulkhead, we can get the fire hydrant, submit everything to the city, and then it is a walkthrough from that point, from one department to the other in the city hall. So it might take, you know, up to 1 to 2 days since after the utilities are terminated and we're able to get those first steps taken care of.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman of the Appellate, the termination of the utilities are required prior to the demolition, but not required to permitting. I mean, that's just your personal process. You obviously, they have to be removed before you can get the permit, but the permits can be applied for, reviewed, and prior to the utilities being terminated. But that being said, so the expectation is that this permit will, I mean, when is the date?
So going back to that, if the water is not turned off, we cannot apply for a hydrant permit, which is one of the required steps to get a demo permit.
Okay, and was that
Mr. Chairman,
applied
this
for
is
you?
Patty. This is Patty to the appellant. Was the water turned off?
I sent in the request. I haven't got a notice saying that it has or not, or it has not yet.
Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, isn't it true somebody went to pull a permit and was told there was a $2,000 water bill? And that was the hiccup?
No, somebody didn't go to pull. Like I mentioned, I sent an email, and there's a process where there's like a sign off saying that the water is off. So
So has the water bill been taken care of?
I'm not aware of that.
Were you aware of the back water bill?
Yes, yes, of course.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, that's where the city would submit from conversations it learned that the hiccup was that the water bill has not been taken care of. And Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, did you pay off the water bill?
The owner is working with us to pay it off.
And Mr. Chairman, the city's sole statement on that is, again, we're going to circle back to the beginning explanation that this appellant knocked down the wrong property. Thank you.
Okay. So both properties are down, I'm assuming.
There's only one property before this board. It's 2133 West 95th Street that was demolished in error by Demotrax, has a back water bill that has to be taken care of by somebody.
Would that stop them from turning the water off, Ms. Aston?
Suggest you ask the appellant on that, since they are a demolition contractor, licensed, bonded, insured, does demolitions regularly, and is engaged in doing this particular property as well.
Okay. All right. Is there a problem there?
Mr. Kefendaris, can you respond to the chairman on that one?
So the question is if the, can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, what I'm asking is that even though there's a bill sitting out there, or would that preclude the water department from going ahead and turning everything off?
Yes.
It would?
Yes.
So until the bill is paid, they won't turn it off?
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I can intercede, we no matter what happens, we will the water and the sewer bill will be addressed, and if once that's addressed, that will be the last obstacle. And I understand the city is understandably upset that we're not handling the water and the sewer bill, but we will address it. And we will take care of it, Your Honor. We were just asking for another 2 weeks from you from now to get the whole process completed and also complete the removal of all the debris.
Okay. Mr. Van.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to, there's a lot of talk about process and what the water department does and what the utility does. I'd like to remind everybody that this house is in a pile already on the lot. So I understand they won't issue the hydrant permit, which is needed for the purpose of dust control on the property. But I just think that there's just a lot of talk about process. We would ask that you deny more time, that you remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing, and that they can continue on this path under our watch. I don't think that there's more time needed. We ask that you uphold the violation notices as properly issued and remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing, and that way we can make sure that there are no other hiccups.
I don't know, I'm getting a confirmation from the attorney that they're going to take care of this within 2 weeks, no matter what the hiccups are involved. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I may, we were under the impression that as soon as they were able, from my conversations, that as soon as they were able to get an agreement, and we found the city of Cleveland actually had located the owner for and provided to them, and as soon as they were able to get an agreement, they were going to be moving forward. And then all of a sudden there was negotiations over who was paying the water bill. That's my understanding of the matters. I understand what the intentions are, but we would ask that you deny more time, you remand it back to the department for our supervision. And if everything comes to fruition as they've explained, then everybody will be happy. But if there are further hiccups or challenges, then we would be able to continue enforcement to make sure that this nothing's done until it's done, Mr. Chairman. And this is an atypical situation where there was fortunately able to reach a contract in the negotiation with an unwitting owner who wasn't even aware or didn't even plan to have his property demolished. So, there's a lot of things that can happen, and we ask that we be allowed to monitor this from our position as the regulator of these things.
And Mr. Chairman, this is Patty again. I will remind the board this inspection and violation notice was issued in April. And you probably want to hear from the community person.
I will.
Thank you.
Miss Lazar. You are muted.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the chance to speak this morning. Mr. Chandra, although we very much appreciate you recognizing that this was done in error and that this is a problem for the community, as it's been stated, this incident occurred in April, and our residents have been witnessing perpetual dumping on the site. It's kind of the broken window theory. Once there is a pile of debris, it will just continue to grow. And the fact that utilities need to be terminated, I don't understand, because it's a pile. I don't see any utilities in place or still edge to the structure. So we wholeheartedly object to the request for the additional 2 weeks, and we support Commissioner Vanover's request that it be remanded back to Building and Housing for their oversight. And we're also asking that any exceptions that can be made to
Mr.
in
Chairman,
this,
is it just me
as
or is Heather
the
breaking
commissioner
up?
stated.
But, hold on just a moment. Okay, Ms. Davis,
Am I breaking up?
you were
Yeah.
a little bit in and out, but we're catching most of what you're saying, that you're opposed to more time, and that's what's important.
I- Well, I'm hoping
It's actually getting worse.
issue.
Yeah.
Can you call in, Heather? Because we need the record to be clear for my court reporter if this escalates to another level. So if you want to give
Can I
testimony,
type
can you
it
call in?
to the chat?
The number is listed on the meeting link.
What is the number?
One second. Try 1-312-535-8110.
And you'll be prompted for the meeting number, which you should have as part of your invitation.
Can you please repeat that? The one? Go ahead.
312-535-8110.
Thank you.
Then you will need these meeting number access code. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
2305-436-9331.
I also put it in the chat if you didn't hear that.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Maurice.
That's for Patty.
I know Patty is objecting to it, but
Yeah.
And I'm so used to, so noted.
Okay, can you all hear me?
Oh, yes.
Heather, you're gonna have to mute your computer.
There you go. Now you have to mute your computer. Did you hear that?
I'm trying.
Trying.
I'm gonna start putting
There
the
we go.
number on the slides.
And turn the volume down.
Turn the volume down. There you go.
So sorry. This is like when you call a radio station and you're trying to win tickets, you know? Okay. So what I was saying, and thank you so much for being patient, and Carmela, thank you for sharing the phone number because I'm digging through emails on a very small screen from home. The council office is very disappointed with the situation. And as I stated, I don't understand why there's a delay for the utility shut off because the home is a pile that has led to perpetual dumping, and no utilities are connected to the property. We fully support Commissioner Vanover's request that the issue be remanded back to Building and Housing for their close oversight and guidance. We're also asking if any exceptions can be made in this case, as it's a rare one, as was stated, to the water department to at least give some leniency and issue whatever is needed to proceed. We object to the extra time, and we are hoping that the members of the commission can actually dictate a time when compliance must be met, or the registration for this contractor will be suspended indefinitely and
until this is resolved.
Mr. Chairman, if I can briefly address those last two statements by
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Lazar. One, this board has no authority over the water department. I believe that is a utility subject to PUCO, et cetera. You have no statutory nor charter authority over the water department. Although I understand where she's coming from, you cannot dictate any terms to the City of Cleveland Water Department. And I would strongly object to any of that, as well as I will make an objection as to any statement or against any going after any licenses or anything. Those are licensed and are property rights and have right to those separate due process. If anything was to be done, it would have to be done in due course with due rights properly done regarding the contractor license or bond, et cetera. There is a process for that. I've not been told it's been even initiated or started. So that is wholly inappropriate to be raised at this point. Thank you.
Okay. But I think overall, I mean, I get your comments, Ms. Lazar, that you wish not to be any more time putting into it. And then, again, if that happens and we remand the property, then it all ends up being the same thing if they go through with everything that they're saying. So, and that's to Mr. Vanover's point. Is there any other comments?
I have a question for Mr. Tom. So are you saying because the home is already in a pile that it would be okay to go and remove the debris without a fire hydrant permit? Because if that's the case, then we can do it as
That's not what I'm saying. You need to control the dust on the site. Now that can be done in any number of ways. The hydrant permit is the most effective and efficient for everybody. But short of that, it could be done with water trucks or tankers, or there's other methods to control dust. You will need to control the dust emissions from the property. My point was simply that if the water was not off, because that was your point, is that you were waiting for them to shut the water off. If the water was not off on that property already, we should have known about it, because the entire house is in the basement and it would be leaking water all over the site. That was my point to that. But no, you absolutely must follow the requirements. You have to control nuisance emissions, and that's done with typically a fire hose. So you still have to clean it up the way you would regardless. So
because without the fire hydrant permit, that's part of the demo permit. So even if I use a water truck or something else,
that's not accurate. That's not accurate. It's always done that way. But if you show, there are many locations where hydrants are not accessible, and water trucks are used to control the emissions.
Okay, I'm not aware of that. How about, I know in some cases with the City of Cleveland, when it's an emergency job, we proceed with the demo, and then after we submit all the paperwork for permits. Would that be?
Mr. Chairman, the city objects to that. That's irrelevant. That's not what happened here, and that's irrelevant to the facts here.
So I think because of all these issues, it even makes more sense that we remand it and do not deny any more time on the property. And I'm going to go ahead and ask for that motion. And then you can just do everything that has to be done. And if any of these issues pop up, the city's going to be there and you work through them. And I think that is the best way to go forward, considering that there are different things that are popping up here. And so I'll ask that we remand the property and do not give any more time.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mr. Dank.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, you'll be notified. Well, you get the notification pretty quick, I'm sure, but at least within 2 weeks, there will be notification on this sent to you. And you're under their purview at this point. Thank you.
I don't totally understand what that means. So what's the next step?
What's the next step? You're going to be working with the city, and you're just going to continue carrying on to the process that you were doing, that you felt you could get done within 2 weeks. And so if you carry on with that same process, everything's going to be fine. You're going to get rid of that debris, and you're going to have your permits, and you're going to do it in an orderly fashion, the way it's supposed to be done. I see there. Go ahead, Mr. Fenteras.
Oh, no, that's it.
Okay. All right. Now I'm going to ask Ms. Lazar. You had a question?
Thank you. I have one question. When is this appellant required to file for the permit then? When will they be applying
They're
for the
doing it
permit?
immediately, as far as I know. They were planning on moving forward anyways. They were asking for 2 weeks. All we're saying is that they're going to continue on. They're going to clear everything up and do what they say they're going to do, hopefully, and the city is there to monitor it. Mr. Chandra.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I mean, clearly, just based on the questions and discussions that my client has had today, it shows that he is very interested in moving forward. He even applied for the permit. And in fact, we have got one of the clearances today from the air pollution control. This is not something that we really want to linger on. So we would really want to address this quickly. So we do understand and appreciate Ms. Lazar being here. We would like to work with the city and try to address all the issues, and if we get the permit tomorrow, we will be done in a week after that. So that's where we stand.
Oh, that sounds good. Okay. This case is done. You're all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next case. Let's see what we have here. I just got a notification that my water's been turned off. You sure you gave the right address?
There's a bulldozer out front too. Be careful.
Must be something going on here. Okay. So we docket A 8822 3367 West 90th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance issued on May 3rd of 2020. Appeal statement received. I'm sorry, that probably should have said 2022. Appeal statement received May 31st of 2022, requesting for more time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Aston Law. With the appellant or his or her attorney or representative, please state your name for the record.
This is Patty, Mr. Chairman, and I don't know if the caller user 7 is the person, but I do not see this appellant's name listed on here. Lutian. If you swear in Mr. Vanover, I will inquire of Ms. Davis.
Mr. Vanover solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To Ms. Davis, did the notice of today's public hearing get returned to the board's file for any reason?
Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Aston, no.
Thank you. And did you receive any communication from this appellant or anyone on behalf of this appellant, voicemail, email, fax, etc.?
Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Aston, no.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It appears you've provided appropriate due process to proceed on this matter. Thank you.
Okay, that is what we'll do then. We'll proceed with this one because it doesn't sound like they're trying to get on. So, Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is a exterior maintenance notice. It is this is a rental property. That there's been issues. This violation is also violations on the garage. Our notes from the inspector has followed up. There's been no progress, and it's an investment property that they're apparently trying to evict the tenant. But as I've stated previously, the exterior maintenance work can be conducted without the eviction of the tenant. They can, they can set up and they can do the work on the outside of the building. And you can see by the list here that it's all deferred maintenance. These are all things that should have been done already.
Yes. Okay. What's your pleasure, Mr. Vanover? You want to remand this property?
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, then that's what we'll do. We'll deny any more time to the property and remand it. Motion is in order. Moved by Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Denk.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, they'll be notified in 2 weeks. Okay, the next docket is A 13421 9615 Raymond Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. This is an appeal from suspended or abandoned work performed under the following permits: B 2004695, P 2004723, and H 2004724. I'm sorry.
They get you yet?
Issued. Inspection date was on November 3rd of 2021. Appeal statement received on November 19th of 2021, requesting for more time to work underneath those permits. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Aston Law. With the appellant or his or her representative, please state your name for the record. Ms. Hashberry?
Virgil Hasbury.
Okay, Mr. Asbury, I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your plans?
We're presently working on the property, trying to get it together. We want to keep the property. We had some mortgage issues, and now been able to get those solved. So we're kind of just going forward and getting the property done.
Okay, but how much more time are you looking at?
As I asked the inspector, if he could give a year, he said that seemed to be a bit much. So I believe he said 3 to 6 months, which would be suitable.
Okay, let's go over to Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, this structure was condemned in 2019. And these permits were issued on the property to repair it. They were issued in February of 2020. So and there's no work. There's no scheduled inspections. There's been no work. The structure has sat in the neighborhood condemned for more than 3 years. The permits are 2 years old with no progress on them. These were closed as required and allowed for under the Residential Code of Ohio because the work has been abandoned. The Residential Code says that the plan approval becomes invalid. So they no longer have a valid plan approval for the permits. It's been 2 years with no activity. We ask that you deny the request to extend these 2-year-old permits on this structure. Of course, the appellate is always within their right to make application and permits, but all this really has done is just delayed our ability to act on this condemnation that was issued in 2019. So we ask that you deny more time because, you know, there's been no work done so far.
Okay, you have a response to that, Mr. Hesbury?
Yes, I do know that in the past, we've had a lot of hesitation moving forward with this property. Within the last month, we have made quite a bit of progress on it. As a matter of fact, a couple more months, we should be ready for inspections.
So you were within 90 days of completing, abating the violations that exist. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr.
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, this is an appeal contesting the closure of permits that now have an invalid plan approval. The expectation would be that the requirements of all the permits are satisfied, because the violation notice is not before this board. It is the aged permits.
Okay, but his testimony is, and so, that's what we look at as far as extending any permits. And I get what you're saying. This has been 2 years, and even though now they're saying we can get it done, maybe not. I get it. So if they have to reapply for the permits again, then that assures continuation. Board members, have any comments?
I do not.
You do not. Okay, Mr. Dank, Mr. Bradley, Ms. Lipscomb?
And I do not.
Okay. All right. So not hearing any other comments, we're going to deny for an extension of the permit. You're going to have to go get re-permitted again to continue your work in that, and that will allow you to do it. So that motion is in order to deny the extension of the permits.
So move.
Okay, motion by Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dank.
Mr. Bradley? Ms. Lipscomb?
Yes.
Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes. Okay, you'll be notified in 2 weeks, decision. And good luck. Okay, next docket is A1922, 9316 Beacon Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. This is an appeal from suspended or abandoned work performed under the following permits: B19007704, P19007730, and E19007726, issued March 11th of 2019. Appeal statement received on March 11th. I'm sorry, appeal statement received February 15th of 2022, requesting that the members keep these permits open. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Aston Law. With the appellant or his or her attorney or representative for docket 1922, please state your name for the record.
Brent Wagner.
Okay, Mr. Wagner, solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right, go ahead and let us know what the plans are here.
Okay, just this morning as we was talking, the plumber came in here while I was listening to the other documents and just signed off on the plumbing. I have a report on the electric. I called, put that in, and I passed everything. Just on the final, he just wanted me to put some faceplates on. I already got I already passed the HVAC inspection. And only the last one I have left is just the building, and I just have to finish my back porch and my siding. I got everything else done. All windows, everything, all the drywall in this whole house has been replaced, installation, everything. I even repainted the porches. So like I said, all I got left is just my final inspection, just to come for the faceplates and the building and on the porch, and that's it. And I just need a little bit more time to complete these. I've been working hard up here and constantly, and what took me so long, my wife got sick. She had a transplant, and she also had a heart valve put in her. So that I've been having to take care of her, and then I caught the COVID, and then it took me a long time to recover over that. Like I'm fine now. Like I said, all I need is a little bit more time, and I should have this thing completely all the way done.
So you've been getting inspections all along on this stuff and getting?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, since I filed the appeal, the electric inspection came in here. He passed my rough end, then came back for the final, and there was just a few more faceplates he wanted me to put on there. He said he documented that down. Then also the plumbing been here twice. He was here before, then he just left about an hour ago while I was on court, waiting right on docket. And he just signed off this gold paper while I was talking to you guys. Michael Beckett.
Let me go over to Mr. Vanover and see what his records show.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, this house was condemned in 2012. This is the second set of permits that have been issued. The first were closed for non-compliance. It did show that there was closure of a plumbing permit as well as an HVAC permit last year, and everything else is sat dormant for up until the time of the closure of these permits. But there has been work cited, and it appears that there was some progress and then it just stopped. So, Mr. Chairman, the appellate, when will you be finished? Well, Mr. Chairman, we would, because of the age of these, we object to the extension, but if an extension is granted, we would ask that no more than 30 days.
Okay, so we got Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
Yes. So what we're hearing from the city is that if you can finish this all out in 30 days, he'll allow it.
Okay.
Okay, you can do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have motion is until July 22nd, 2022 to abate any of the violations. And well, that will allow your extension, okay, for that period of time.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Motion is in order that we allow for the extension for 30 days.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman?
Thank you.
Yes.
Can we have Mr. Vanover clarify, is it on all three of the permits that is before us, or extension exactly on which permits?
Yes, Ms. Davis. Yes, they were submitted together. They're all in the same status. It would be all three permits.
Okay, I just wondered, I know you said something was closed out or in compliance. I just wanted to make sure it was for all three.
These permits that are listed under this appeal are still in question.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so you made progress. That has helped you out with this permit extension. So motion is in order to extend the permit.
So move.
Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Denk.
Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb? Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes. Okay, you'll be notified in 2 weeks. So,
Thank you.
okay. All right, next docket. A 2022-9316 Beacon Avenue.
That's one we just did.
What's that?
We just did that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sitting out there. We did 2022?
Something's
You
weird
know
with this.
what? Actually, my slide, see my slide is, information is wrong for docket 2022. It should read, for White Avenue.
Okay, all right, I can read that off. Okay, so docket A 2022, 12008 Abel White Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. This is again, appeal from suspended or abandoned work for the following permits. B 19003185, P 19003192, E 19003188, and H 19003196. The appeal was received on February 15th of 2022, requesting the board to grant more time underneath those permits. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Aston Law. With the appellant or his or her attorney or representative, please state your name for the record.
There's a raised hand. I don't know who that is. This is Patty, Mr. Chairman. I don't see.
I think that was me.
Okay.
Sorry.
And then there's a call-in user 7 that's been on there. I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's Mr. Vanover calling in. Is that you, Tom? Okay, so Mr. Chairman, I do not see anyone listed under an Arnold Ragland or anything similar or close to that. So Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, did the notice of today's public hearing get returned to the board's file for any reason?
To Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Aston, no.
And Ms. Davis, did you receive any communication from this appellant or on this appellant's behalf, voicemail, email, fax, etc.?
No.
So, Mr. Chairman, it appears that the board has provided proper due process to this appellant to be heard and can go ahead and proceed. Thank you.
Okay, Tom, solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Tom.
Well, bear with me a minute. Let me, what is the address?
It's 12008 Abel White, that's one word, Avenue.
That's ABLE?
Yes.
And it looks like the permits are from 19, Tom, a building, plumbing, electrical, and an H. The building is 19003185.
Hold on, let me. Oh, it's 12008.
12008, that is correct.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, this is a permits in response to the correction of a 2016 condemnation notice. The permits were there was originally a permit pulled in 2016 that was to correct violations, and then the most recent ones that are here are 2019. And there's no records of any work completed or any inspections conducted after several attempts for contact by the inspector. So again, this is a condemnation that's been sitting 6 years now in the neighborhood. Permits were pulled, no work was completed. We ask that you deny more time and remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing.
Okay, so easy enough. So, motion is in order to deny more time for this property and no extension of permits for sure. And, to remand it back to the city for any further.
So moved.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Dank, second by Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Ms. Linscomb,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, they will be notified. Another permit extension, A 2322 12017 Angelus Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. This is an appeal from suspended or abandoned work performed under the following permits: H 2006027, B 180199984, E 1801999, and H 180200004. These permits were issued on February 14th of 2020. The appeal statement was received on February 10th of 2022, requesting that these permits stay open to continue to work. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover. Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. With the appellant or his or her attorney or representative, please state your name for the record.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. Again, I don't see anyone in the listing for this owner, Joseph Hezroni. I will note that the appeal statement is clear that he's had COVID and problems therefrom, including stating that he would be eventually giving you documentation to that, and this was from February. In the permit, he did ask for 90 days at that time. So, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, did the notice of today's public hearing get returned for any reason?
Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Ashton, no.
And Ms. Davis, did you receive any further communication from Mr. Hezroni or anyone on his behalf? Any email, voicemail, mailing, fax, etc.?
Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Ashton, no.
So, Mr. Chairman, you did have given proper due process notice for this appellant to be heard at today's public hearing. And can go ahead and
Okay.
proceed. Thank you.
Mr. Vanover solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Bear with me, Mr. Chairman. I'm trying to, it appears this was a 2011 condemnation. And it was, the condemnation itself was appealed, time was granted. Permits were issued then and never completed. I'm sorry, bear with me one moment. Let me get my, this has a very long, history on it. So yeah, and then permits were pulled again in 2018, and again no work was completed. We would ask that you deny any more time and remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing.
Okay. Motion is in order to deny any more time for this property and to remand it back to the Division of Building and Housing for any further action.
Move.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bradley, second by Mr. Dank.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Ms. Linscomb,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, notice will be sent out in 2 weeks. Next docket, A 2622-1260 East 84th Street.
Application and fees are in order. This is an appeal from suspended or abandoned work performed under the following permits: P 200-12188, B 200009983, E 200-12183, and H 200-12187. These permits were issued on May 19th of 2020. Appellant is requesting the board to grant them more time to work underneath these permits. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. With the appellant or his or her representative, please state your name for the record.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. I do not see anyone by this appellant's name, Dan Roberts, or anything close to that on the panel of participants. Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, did the notice of today's public hearing get returned to the board's file for any reason?
No.
And Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, did you receive any communication, any email, voicemail, fax, et cetera, for this appellant or on this appellant's behalf?
No.
So, Mr. Chairman, proper due process having been given to this appellant, this board can proceed. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Vanover solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do. So, Mr. Chairman, this is a 2010 condemnation. And then it was re-inspected in violation, additional violation notice issued in 2017. Permits were pulled in 2017 to stop the demolition. No work was completed. Those were closed. Permits were pulled again in 2020 and no work was completed. And this was all done under the same owner, Mr. Dan G. Roberts. We would ask that you deny any more time, remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing.
That's what we'll do. Okay, motion is in order to deny any more time and to remand it back to the Division of Building and Housing for any further action. Motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Dank. Second by Ms. Lipscomb.
Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb?
Yes.
Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes. Okay, they will be notified in 2 weeks.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. For the 14921, I don't see anyone added on. This was the one that Ms. Davis got a email right before the start. Do you want to just continue this and add it to the next docket?
Ms. Davis, what's your pleasure on this?
Yes, I can do a final notice to have them appear in person.
Okay.
Since their technology keeps failing.
All right, that's what we'll do. Okay, so we'll bring this one back at another date.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Approval of resolutions. A422, A722, A922, A1022, A1122, A1222, A1322, A1422.
Move approval.
Okay, by Mr. Dank.
Second.
And second by Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb?
Yes.
Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes. Okay, for the approval of the minutes for June 8th, 2022, are there any additions or corrections?
No.
Okay, a motion is in order to approve. Okay, motion by Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Dink.
Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Lipscomb?
Yes.
Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes. Okay, is there any other further business to come before us?
No.
I have unofficial business. Joy, I
Okay.
need.
Turn it
Carmella,
off.
Do you want me to turn the recording off?
That's fine. That's fine. I need Joy. Yeah, you can, that's fine. Carmella, I think I asked you about the transcript for